Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. I'm Marilyn, and I wasn't able to film on my regular day, so it's a few days later, and I'm back with a huge, for me, library book haul for Nonfiction November. How great is that? I was able to go to the library and actually pick out books that I want to read, books that I think you might want to read. And this is a pretty big book haul for me, and it covers a lot of genres. So why didn't I film on my regular day? Well, most of my friends here know that I haven't had the best health-wise few months, and I hadn't been sleeping. And when you don't sleep, yeah, everything just goes downhill. So I'm back on schedule. I had a few good nights sleep, and my appetite is back because I had been kind of losing weight more than my doctor wanted me to. But anyway, I feel good, and I'm going to start without further ado with my nonfiction book haul. Now, when I walked in the library, of course I look in the new books because I want to see if there's anything interesting that's new. Even though I don't usually read new books, I did find one that kind of made me giggle a little bit. And if you were around in the 80s, you might know Rick Astley. And his autobiography, and that's what he looks like now, looks pretty good, is called Never. And like I said, if you were around in the 80s, did I say 90s? 80s, his big hit was Never Gonna Let You Never Gonna Give You Up, Never Gonna Let You Go. So it's apropos that his autobiography would be called Never. And there's a picture of him in the back. He was the cutest, right? I think this was even before he was on MTV and all those places. And what it says on the tin is, I hadn't been very comfortable with fame, but I didn't know what to do with myself after I was famous. On the surface, I was hugely relieved to be shot of the whole thing. I felt as I'd been let off the hook. Underneath, though, I was miserable. Balancing nostalgia, fresh perspectives, and introspection, Never is an intimate look at the man behind the hits, a portrait of truth, artistic evolution, and the astounding power of contentment. And the reason I picked this up after reading the blurb was because that's what I'm looking for in most of my books today, in my nonfiction books. I'm looking for contentment, and I want to know what his secret was. So this is a brand new book. It's, I think it's 2024. Came to my library in 2025. But anyway, so that's the first book. Nonfiction book. So if you're interested in Rick Astley, and I think I am, so I'm looking forward to reading this. My next nonfiction book is also nonfiction. Well, of course it's nonfiction, but it's also an essay in a personal form, and it's by Zadie Smith. Now let me just first tell you that I'm not a big fan of Zadie Smith's fiction. True, I only tried a few, NW, and one other that I can't remember, but I am a fan of her nonfiction, and I did read On Beauty, but this one I picked up. It's very small, and it's Intimations, and this was written during the lockdown. And it says it's deeply personal and powerfully moving, a short and timely series of reflective essays by one of the most clear-sighted and essential writers of our time. And it was, like I said, it was written during the lockdown, and it explores ideas, feelings, and questions prompted by an unprecedented situation. What does it mean to submit to a new reality or to resist it? And how do we compare relative sufferings? Now, it says here that this is suffused with intimacy, which I like. I like that an author is going to go back to herself after she explores other herself or himself, after exploring the topics that she wants to explore. And it says it's tender and it's wide scope, and she clears a generous space of thought to reflect what happened, what should happen next. So like I said, I like her nonfiction. I think she's a very intelligent, and one day I might try to get into her fiction a little bit more. If you heard that, I dropped Rick Astley. Well, not literally, but now I want to get to another way of making me feel contentment. And this is a reread for me. And it's The Power of Now by Eckhart Tolle. Now, I have to say that I really, when I read it the first time I read it, I really didn't get on with it, didn't agree with a lot of things, and I still don't. However, he wrote another book, and this book is mine, and it's A New Earth, Awakening to Your Life's Purpose. And I like this book much better. It was a little more intimate. In The Power of Now, it's basically somebody who is practicing what he preaches, in a sense, that the ego should be suppressed. We shouldn't be thinking. And I really, understand what he's saying. However, it's very hard to do if you're an overthinker like I am. But when he gets into A New Earth, which he says comes from the Bible, and there's a lot of Bible reference, even though he doesn't belong to any religion, Eckhart Tolle. The New Earth comes from, I'm thinking the second half of the Bible, the New Testament, that there'll be a new earth and a new heaven and a new earth or something like that. But yeah, I think that overthinking is a really big problem for people who have anxiety like I do. But on the other hand, it's very hard to stop. And what I found in another one of his YouTube videos was to say to yourself, I am here now. And that kind of brings you back. And he does say that when you do notice that you're thinking and not being in the present moment, that is a win, because you're noticing the ego and you're going back. But like I said, this is not going to be for everyone, but if you get some tidbits that might help you in daily life, I really suggest at least trying to explore Eckhart Tolle. He appears to be a very humble, good person. He's a Buddhist, and a lot of his teachings are from Buddhism, and meditation. But he's also a good human being, from what I read, what I gathered from at least this book, because it's more personal. And he did have a sort of breakdown. He admitted in one of his videos that he had an unhappy childhood. He did suffer from anxiety. So just for that, and he went so the opposite way, I wanted to read more about it. So let me know if you've read anything by Eckhart Tolle. But I really am glad that I didn't stop with The Power of Now, and that I picked this up at a library sale. So it's mine, but it's still connected with the library. Now the next book actually helped me more, or in a different way. And since I've been going through a lot of sleeplessness and trying to get well physically and mentally, because I've had a lot of physical ailments as well that I don't want to get into now. You're already tired of hearing it. But I've been doing Tai Chi, and at least beginning Tai Chi. And I wanted to know more about it, because they have like small snippets on YouTube that I've been getting into. So when I saw this book, Qigong, Qigong and the Tai Chi Axis, Nourishing Practices for Body, Mind, and Spirit by, now I hope I don't torture his name or her name, it's a girl, Mimi Kuo Deemer. It's a beautiful cover too. It really is. It just shows the essence of what Tai Chi and Qigong is. Now Tai Chi is a mind martial art. So Kung Fu would be a physical martial art, and there's so many others that you can name from different countries, different thoughts of being. And what it says here is that Mimi Kuo Deemer takes the reader on a journey through the 5 elements and seasons of Qigong, explaining their connection to health, lifestyle, and state of mind. It is a pleasure to read, a balanced approach. I highly recommend Qigong and the Tai Chi Axis. So it says reduce stress, release pain, and create bodily harmony with the introduction and the yin-yang balance of Tai Chi, the ancient Chinese arts of movement meditation. This accessible book features information about those practices as well as insights into their benefits, providing tools for replenishing inner resources and managing energy levels. Now, in this book, it really goes into more of not so much the movements. Of course, they go into the movements, how to do them correctly, but what does it help? For example, in chapter 4, it says Wood's organs, the liver and the gallbladder, and finding stability and root. So it really is a book about, in other words, if you're starting, you want to start Tai Chi, I think you should read more about how to do it correctly, because what I'm finding out is that it's very different from Western exercise. And Western exercise is more straight like a soldier, and other, the opposite of that would be crouching, and both are wrong in Tai Chi. You have to have a balance of you're not straight, and it's a 1/3 kind of movement. And as if you're injured, have any injuries, then even more so, that you're not going to push your body into what it's not ready for. So I'm really excited about my Tai Chi practice. I always thought Tai Chi was boring. I used to do yoga, but I'm finding that the yoga that I was doing is a little bit too hard on my body at the moment. I still love yoga, and I hope to get back to yoga, but when I tried it, when I wasn't at my best, and I pushed myself through it's a variety of hot yoga. And I once said that in Hawaii, everything is hot yoga. You don't have to go to a studio. But Tai Chi is, it's really good for the mind as well. I know yoga is too, but for Tai Chi, I think this is what I need right now. So if you're interested in Tai Chi, I would say pick up this book. I forgot to mention that the originator of Nonfiction November is Olive from Book Olive, and she started it 10 years ago. And although that I don't think that she's actively doing an event, she did do a lot of recommendations that I will have down below in the description box, her recommendations for Nonfiction November 2025. So check that out. And I tried to do in this video a variety of genres in the nonfiction area of literature that maybe there's so many. Of course, I haven't got to all of them, and I had a limit at the library of time, but I did pick up a book that I think I'm going to enjoy because I love music. And this is 1,000 Recordings to Hear Before You Die a listener's life list. It's a chunky one, but it's not one that you read from beginning to end. And just there's a lot of my partner told me that he's very much into music, and he said there's Porgy and Bess, there's a lot of classical music as well as the Mikado, but even if you just browsing through it, you're going to see, and I just found Let It Be. Right here, Let It Be. Well, that's funny because it says the Replacements, not the Beatles. You know, I thought Paul McCartney wrote Let It Be, but it says, in the wise beyond his years songs that 24-year-old Paul Westerberg wrote for his third full-length Replacements album, there are raging hormones and desperate junior Casanova moves. So I guess that the 1,000 recordings aren't necessarily the originals. That's what I get out of this book. And it says the musical adventure of a lifetime. Celebrate the joy, the revelation, the mystery, the fun, the sheer shivers up the spine pleasure of great music. Essential operas, milestone rock albums, and education in the blues. The world. Classical from Bach to Bartok to Beethoven to Brahms, and dozens of unexpected gems. So I'm looking forward to browsing this book. And here we have in the front, it's Joni Mitchell and Tom Waits. So it's specific recordings, specific songs. So I'm looking forward to browsing, and I hope that if you like this kind of genre, let me know in the comments. I was trying to look for different genres. Another genre of nonfiction that I was so into most of my life is travel. And I could have brought so many books on travel, but now with the internet, you can get more up-to-date kind of information on travel. But I did pick up in DK Eyewitness books of Canada, because of all the places that I might go to, in reality, I think Canada, especially the west coast of Canada, would be the most reasonable place that I can go that's not that far away from, well, everything is far away from Hawaii. But this says inspire, plan, discover, experience. And it has beautiful photos like the DK books usually have. And I don't think this is pretty new. And some things don't change. So of course, what's there usually is going to still be there, plus of course new things. So in other words, if you want a new restaurant that might have closed, then go to the internet. But here it says explore Canada. And I have to admit that I have been pretty ignorant about Canada, especially the literature, before I joined BookTube. So I am interested in learning more about Canada in general, because every time I read another Canadian fiction book, or I learn more about Canada, and it's just making me more interested. Another subject, but this is the only travel book I had, but I used to hang out in the 917 section of the library a lot. Now this book is, I'm trying to see what would this be. I guess it would be literature. And I picked this up because it has 10 masterpieces. The name of it is Masterpieces of Jewish American Literature. And it's a very slim volume. It's a hardcover book, and it's 2007. So and I found out just by recent titles in Greenwood introduces literary masterpieces that they have one for French literature, modern British and Irish drama, and I think I want to get into all of these. I love Irish books too. So this is like reading about literature, or reading about the masterpieces of different genres of literature. And I think I picked it up because I recognized a few of, and they tell you the masterpiece exactly. So, and I'm trying to get to one that and this is a pretty succinct, if not exhaustive, books. But for one book, it's The Chosen, and I know that Chaim Potok, the book The Chosen, I have it on my shelf as my own book, is one of the books that was written in 1967. But I also remember a book by Saul Bellow, The Adventures of Augie March, and it was Saul Bellow's third and breakthrough novel, and it announced a brand new voice in American fiction, jazzy and exuberant, with accents that are Midwestern American, urban, and Yiddish. So I thought that there was a movie that I remember. I don't think I watched it, but anyway, if you're interested in masterpieces of Jewish American literature or any of the other masterpieces, you might find it in your library or like online. And they even have masterpieces of philosophical literature, American romantic literature. So, here's beat literature. So this is a slim volume that I think is worthwhile, and that's why I picked it up. Before I go into my last genre, that, of course, not all the genres in the library, I wanted to invite you to like, comment, and subscribe because the algorithm hates me lately. But so I really would appreciate that. And subject that I'm going to talk about is home decoration. Now, these books I read I'm trying to think of the earliest, but it's more of an author's spotlight of her books. Now, I think she wrote more than 20 books. Her name is Alexandra Stoddard, and she was a decorator. And I was obsessed with her books. And Gina at Genius Stan Your Books also loves Alexandra Stoddard. So when I saw her at the library, well, I didn't see her, but I saw a lot of books at the library. I thought I would go back and see why I was so taken with her. And I didn't have an answer because when I was looking at the books, I realized that one of my hobbies at that time was home decorating on a budget. And when I looked at some of the photos in the books now, I feel like it's a little bit too cluttered for the way that minimalism has changed decorating. But she doesn't only have decorating books. And that's where I think I was not telling you the exact, maybe it's more of a self-help and decorating kind of book. Now, I have a book on my shelf, and I'm going to do a nonfiction November later this month on the books that I actually have on my shelf that I own that are nonfiction. But these, I might have read all of them. And one of them is Open Your Eyes, 1,000 Simple Ways to Bring Beauty into Your Home and Life Each Day. And she uses a lot of personal experiences. So you can say that this is self-help, memoir, decorating, self-awareness, a lot of things. And so this first one, and I'll show you the cover because it's one thing I did not like about it. It seemed old-fashioned to me. And I'll show you the cover. See, I don't want my living room, if I had a nice living room, I mean like with a fireplace, fancy schmancy as we call it, to look like that anymore. I would want more space. And that's the way I think the thinking is right now. And this was 1999. So let me know if you know Alexandra Stoddard and her books. Now I'm going to show you a few others. And this one I know I read. It's Living a Beautiful Life, 500 Ways to an Elegance, Order, Beauty, and Joy to Every Day of Your Life. And this is a picture of her. She was a very beautiful woman very accomplished woman. So it says here, living the beautiful life used to mean having money. Alexandra Stoddard shows us that it's no longer a matter of money. It's an attitude and a skill. Well, I think you still need a little money. And because she has a lot of money, and people that have a lot of money don't realize that when you're living on a budget, like for me, I'm on Social Security. We don't have a choice but, to try to make do with what we have. This was written in '87, so it's one of the books that really, but something about her writing really touched me. It made me feel like I was rich. For example, she has, in this book, she has like just some flowers. She has illustrations, which I remember made me feel happy when I was reading them, reading her books. And here's just, though I don't really like the kitchen, I can see, that pots and pans hanging from a stove used to be something that, in fact, in my Puerto Rican friends' houses was something that was always done and not considered a form of decoration, but we had no space, so that was why. She also has another book called Choosing Happiness, and this was written in 2002. So she has gone on to write many books, and in this one it says, it's more of a self-help thing, and it says, use these precious keys to finding happiness to unlock hidden stores of joy. So in this one it sounds a little bit too and she still looks good. So it's a little bit too self-helpy for me, but right now I'm into comfort, and if I can find some comfort in her books, I'm definitely going to check them out. There's another book that I don't have the cover of, which is Happiness for Two, that I took out of the library, but I can't find it at the moment, that I'll talk about in my next video. But anyway, I just wanted to thank everyone who's sending me such good healing vibes, and my friends here who care about me. And I really hope that you all have health and wealth and a wonderful November. Tell me below if you love nonfiction as much as I do, and if that's where you go to the library first, maybe, like probably Olive does, because that was me. That was me. That was me with travel. That was me with, if I was going through something, anxiety, I wanted to read about that. If I was going through a pregnancy at a young age, which I was, because I was married young, and I didn't know anything about what we used to call the birds and the bees, because people didn't talk about it, and there was no internet, I went to the library and found out about what to expect when you're expecting. And that's a book that wasn't available when I was expecting, at least not the first time. So libraries are wonderful. I still think they're wonderful, and I think everyone should go to the library and check out nonfiction, and let me know what your favorite nonfiction books are. So I'm looking forward to hearing from you in the comments. Please say hi, and thank you all for watching, if you watched up to this point. And of course, as always, I wish you all aloha.